সুধীমণ্ডলী, মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি,
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the President.
সুধীমণ্ডলী, অনুষ্ঠানের শুরুতেই পবিত্র কুরআন থেকে তেলাওয়াত ও তরজমা করবেন হাফেজ মাওলানা মোহাম্মদ লিয়াকত আলী।
Ladies and gentlemen, we begin with recitation from the Holy Quran. Hafiz Muhammad Liaquat Ali will recite the verses from Quran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك ممن تشاء تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. অনুবাদ: বলুন, ইয়া আল্লাহ, তুমি সমস্ত রাজ্যের মালিক। তুমি যাকে ইচ্ছা রাজ্য দান করো এবং যার কাছ থেকে ইচ্ছা রাজ্য ছিনিয়ে নাও, এবং যাকে ইচ্ছা সম্মান দান করো এবং যাকে ইচ্ছা অপমানে পতিত করো। তোমারই হাতে রয়েছে যাবতীয় কল্যাণ। নিশ্চয় তুমি সর্ববিষয়ে ক্ষমতাশীল। সূরা আলে ইমরান আয়াত 26। ওয়াখির দাওয়ানা আনিল হামদুলিল্লাহি রাব্বিল আলামিন। আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহ।
O Allah, possessor of the kingdom, you give the kingdom to whom you will, and you take the kingdom from whom you will, and you endue with honor whom you will, and you humiliate whom you will. In your hand is the good. Verily, you are able to do all things.
এবারে স্বাগত বক্তব্য প্রদান করবেন ইনস্টিটিউট অফ চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টস অফ বাংলাদেশের প্রেসিডেন্ট জনাব এএফ নেসারউদ্দিন এফসিএ।
Now the welcome speech will be delivered by the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, ICAB, Mr. A.F. Nesaruddin, FCA.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. M.D. Abdul Hamid, Honorable President, People's Republic of Bangladesh, Special Guest, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, Advisor on Private Industry and Investment with the Honorable Prime Minister, Government of Bangladesh, Guest of Honor, CMA Dr. PVS Jagan Mohan Rao, President SAFA, Chairman Organizing Committee, respected guest, representative of SAFA bodies and beyond, government high officials, officials from corporate houses at home and abroad, members of the Institute, ladies and gentlemen, members of the print media, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to you all. First of all, I express my sincere gratitude and thanks to the Honorable President, People's Republic of Bangladesh for his kind presence in spite of busy state schedule and activities. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier our economy was mainly import-based, but now we have identified ourselves as an exporting country. Economy is also growing steadily and at times at overwhelming rate. Bangladesh received net foreign direct investment amounting to US dollar 3.61 billion in 2018. The FDI flows are increasing every year. Despite global slowdown, FDI is on rise in Bangladesh. Bangladesh offers fiscal and other incentive to investors. Bangladesh has large number of skilled and semi-skilled workforce. From West perspective, we are still competitive. We have bilateral investment treaty with 29 countries and system of avoidance of double taxation with 28 countries. In today's program, we are going to listen from on FDI from keynote speaker Mr. Mustafizur Rahman, which will be followed by a panel of discussion of experts from Bangladesh and SAFA countries. Today's event is again especially important for us, as the event will be marked by ICBA BP Award and SAFA BP Award 2018. ICB has been continuously working in development of accounting profession and contributing towards the development of Bangladesh economy. We will continue our endeavor in the days to come. Honorable President, sir, your presence here manifests the importance of this conference. Our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to you for being with us today. May I extend warm welcome to all of our overseas guest participants, leaders from the public and other enterprises at home and abroad. Your views and perspective in regards to the FDI in Bangladesh will add value. We all look forward to a stimulating and enriching conference. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
সুধী মণ্ডলী, এখন বক্তব্য প্রদানের জন্য অনুরোধ করছি সম্মানিত অতিথি সাউথ এশিয়ান ফেডারেশন অব অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টসের প্রেসিডেন্ট CMA ডক্টর PVS জগনমোহন রাওকে।
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request the guest of honor, President of the South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA, CMA Dr. PVS Jagan Mohan Rao, to kindly deliver his speech.
Very good afternoon to you all. Honorable President of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Abdul Hamid, Mr. A.F. Nasruddin, FCA President, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, Mr. Salman Fazlur Rahman, Member of Parliament, Advisor to Honorable Prime Minister, and Mr. Farhad Hussain, Chairman of the Organizing Committee of the Conference, member bodies of SAFA, South Asian Federation of Accountants, and distinguished guests, dignitaries, press and media, participants and friends. It gives me great pleasure to stand here and to give few lines of my address. Really, ladies and gentlemen, I being President of South Asian Federation of Accountants feel proud and honored to be present here at this SAFA International Conference organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh on the theme Foreign Direct Investment, Destination Bangladesh, on which the domain experts will be sharing as it goes by their views and experiences with the participants. It is an honor and privilege for all of us to have Mr. Mohammad Abdul Hamid, Honorable President of Bangladesh, as the chief guest of this conference. Thank you very much, sir, for your kindness for being here. South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA, an apex body of SAC, was set up in 1984 for promoting the accounting profession in the countries in South Asian region and internationally with a mission to bring the accounting bodies in the region together at a common forum and facilitate professional cooperation in the areas of education, training, and ethical standards. SAFA has been playing a pivotal role for the harmonization of professional standards in the areas of accounting, auditing, ethics, and education, and is committed to raise the standards and the level of profession in the region. SAFA provides special impetus to cooperation among its member bodies in the SAARC region for the overall growth of the accounting profession in the SAARC region and explores means in which it is and it has a representative forum could play prolific role in the development of accounting profession in the globe from this region. The role being played by SAFA for the development of the accounting profession in the SAARC region and for the economic development of the region as a whole has been exemplified through the innovative work being carried through its various technical committees working in the areas of education, accounting and auditing standards, government accounting, quality control, ethics, and many other emerging areas of accounting profession. Sir, we had accounting various committees in the context of accounting, ethics, education yesterday. We are going to have the board meeting of SAFA tomorrow to deliberate on the issues that pertain to this region. The foreign direct investment is considered as one of the major sources of employment generation, technology transfer, and managerial capacity building and increasing market efficiency in any country. Currently, Bangladesh is one of the promising economies with a large domestic market, availability of labor with competitive price, low utility charges, seaports, long-term tax holiday, and easy access to largest regional markets like India and China. Bangladesh is considered to be among the next 11 emerging markets. In the past decade, Bangladesh economy has witnessed steady growth with the country's annual GDP growth rate around 7.86% in 2018. It reflects both social and economic growth. The Bangladesh government has been proactively involved in the country's progress, as is evident from increased government investment in various initiatives in the country. Bangladesh is already being recognized as thriving investment hub, and this is reflected in the country's foreign direct investment inflows. The government's mega projects were viewed as the primary reason for the drawing substantial FDI investments into transport, storage, communication sectors, and so on and so forth. Preferential trade benefits and friendly investment policies offered to the countries investing in Bangladesh. As per the projections, Bangladesh is set to become one of the fastest growing economies in 2050. To support this initiative of the government, professional accountants have an important role to play for effective management of business and in the economic development of the country. I am sure that the professional accountancy bodies in Bangladesh would play a big role in recognizing the future needs and also would assist in responding to the challenges. My heartiest congratulations to Mr. A.F. Nasiruddin, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, and his team for their efforts in organizing such a huge event in a befitting way, but of course with great hospitality. Thank you, President. And I wish this international conference will be a grand success and a memorable event for all of us who have come from various parts of the world, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
সুধী মণ্ডলী, এবারে ক্রেস্ট প্রদান পর্ব। প্রথমেই গণপ্রজাতন্ত্রী বাংলাদেশের মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি জনাব মোহাম্মদ আব্দুল হামিদকে ইনস্টিটিউট অব চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টস অব বাংলাদেশের পক্ষ থেকে ক্রেস্ট প্রদান করবেন অত্র ইনস্টিটিউটের প্রেসিডেন্ট জনাব A.F. নেসারুদ্দিন FCA।
Ladies and gentlemen, now handing over of crest. The Institute crest will be handed over by the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, ICAB, to His Excellency.
এবার মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি সাউথ এশিয়ান ফেডারেশন অব অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টসের প্রেসিডেন্ট CMA ডক্টর PVS জগনমোহন রাওকে ইনস্টিটিউটের ক্রেস্ট প্রদান করবেন।
His Excellency the President will now hand over the crest of the Institute to the President of South Asian Federation of Accountants, Mr. PVS Jaganmohan Rao.
মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি অনুষ্ঠানে বিশেষ অতিথি মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর বেসরকারি শিল্প ও বিনিয়োগ বিষয়ক উপদেষ্টা জনাব সালমান ফজলুর রহমানকে ইনস্টিটিউটের ক্রেস্ট প্রদান করবেন।
His Excellency the President has handed over a crest to Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Salman Fazlur Rahman.
সুধীমণ্ডলী, এবার বিনীত অনুরোধ জানাচ্ছি অনুষ্ঠানের প্রধান অতিথি গণপ্রজাতন্ত্রী বাংলাদেশের মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি জনাব মোহাম্মদ আব্দুল হামিদকে তার মূল্যবান ভাষণ প্রদানের জন্য।
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the President of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Abdul Hamid.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to you all. মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর বেসরকারি শিল্প ও বিনিয়োগ বিষয়ক উপদেষ্টা জনাব সালমান এফ রহমান এমপি, ইনস্টিটিউট অফ চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টস অফ বাংলাদেশের সম্মানিত সভাপতি জনাব এফ নেসারউদ্দিন এফসিএ, সাফায়ের সম্মানিত সভাপতি ডক্টর জগনমোহন রাও, মূল প্রবন্ধ উপস্থাপক প্রফেসর মুস্তাফিজুর রহমান, সাফা দেশভুক্ত বিভিন্ন ইনস্টিটিউট ও আন্তর্জাতিক প্রতিষ্ঠান থেকে আগত সম্মানিত অতিথিবৃন্দ, গণমাধ্যমের সম্মানিত প্রতিনিধিবৃন্দ, উপস্থিত সম্মানিত সুধীমণ্ডলী, ইনস্টিটিউট অফ চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টস অফ বাংলাদেশ আয়োজিত সাফা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কনফারেন্স 2019-এ উপস্থিত হতে পেরে আমি অত্যন্ত আনন্দিত। এবারের সম্মেলনে প্রতিপাদ্য ফরেন ডাইরেক্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ডেস্টিনেশন বাংলাদেশ, বাংলাদেশের প্রেক্ষাপটে খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। বাংলাদেশ এখন উন্নয়নশীল দেশ। 2041 সালের মধ্যে উন্নত সমৃদ্ধ দেশে পরিণত হওয়ার আকাঙ্ক্ষাকে সামনে রেখে সমৃদ্ধের সোপানে এগিয়ে যাচ্ছে। অর্থনীতির এই ক্রমবর্ধমান ধারাকে টেকসই ও বেগবান করতে ফরেন ডাইরেক্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্টের ভূমিকা খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। সরকার ফরেন ডাইরেক্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্টকে উৎসাহিত করার জন্য দেশে 100টি অর্থনৈতিক অঞ্চল প্রতিষ্ঠা করছে। বিনিয়োগকারীদের প্রয়োজনীয় সকল সেবা দ্রুততম সময়ে এবং সিঙ্গেল উইন্ডো থেকে প্রদানের লক্ষ্যে ওয়ান স্টপ সার্ভিস আইন 2018 এবং এই সংক্রান্ত বিধিমালা প্রণয়ন করা হয়েছে। শিল্প স্থাপনের লাইসেন্স, অনুমতি, পারমিট সহ 27টি ক্যাটাগরিতে 125 ধরনের সেবা ওয়ান স্টপ সার্ভিস থেকে প্রদান করা হচ্ছে। তাছাড়া কর রেয়াত সহ অন্যান্য নানাবিধ সুবিধা সরকার বিনিয়োগকারীদের প্রদান করছে। বাংলাদেশ এখন বিনিয়োগের সুবর্ণ সুযোগ বিরাজ করছে। এই সুযোগ কাজে লাগাতে এবং বিদ্যমান সুযোগ সুবিধা দেশি বিদেশি বিনিয়োগকারীদের নিকট তুলে ধরতে এই সম্মেলন গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রাখবে বলে আমার দৃঢ় বিশ্বাস। সম্মানিত সুধীমণ্ডলী, বাংলাদেশের অর্থনীতির আয়তন আজ বহুগুণে বৃদ্ধি পেয়েছে। 2005-06 অর্থবছরে আমাদের বাজেট আকার ছিল 64,000 কোটি টাকা, আর 2019-20 অর্থবছরে প্রস্তাবিত বাজেটের আকার ধরা হয়েছে 5,23,000 কোটি টাকা, যা 2005-06 তুলনায় 8 গুণ বৃদ্ধি পেয়েছে। একই সাথে দেশের ব্যবসা বাণিজ্যের প্রসার ঘটেছে। তাই পাবলিক ও কর্পোরেট খাতে হিসাবের স্বচ্ছতা ও জবাবদিহি নিশ্চিত করতে চার্টার্ড অ্যাকাউন্টসগণকে দায়িত্বশীল ভূমিকা পালন করতে হবে। সম্মানিত অ্যাকাউন্ট্যান্টগণ, দক্ষিণ এশিয়ার অধিকাংশ দেশে স্বল্প আয়তনের কিন্তু জনবহুল হলেও এই অঞ্চলে রয়েছে অপার সম্ভাবনার জনসম্পদ। এই অঞ্চলের উন্নয়নে আপনাদের মতো পেশাজীবীদের গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা রয়েছে। স্বচ্ছতা ও জবাবদিহির ক্ষেত্রে আপনাদের ভূমিকা হওয়া উচিত দেশের সমষ্টিগত স্বার্থ ও মঙ্গলের জন্য, শুধু ব্যক্তি বা প্রতিষ্ঠানের জন্য নয়। সকলের সম্মিলিত প্রচেষ্টায় এই অঞ্চলে অর্থনীতি টেকসই হোক, উন্নয়নের অগ্রযাত্রা অব্যাহত থাকুক, এই প্রত্যাশা করি। Distinguished participants from SAARC countries and international organizations, I heartily welcome you all to Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh. It is a matter of pride that you have joined SAFA International Conference 2019 with the theme foreign direct investment. Destination Bangladesh, which is very time-worthy approach not only for Bangladesh but also for South Asian countries. The people of this region have been sharing common values, culture and heritage and also facing same challenges. Therefore, we have to put our united efforts to combat the problems. Bangladesh is now a safe and suitable destination for direct foreign investment as our government has offered manifold facilities and incentives for the foreign investors. Keeping this in consideration, I hope foreign investors will come forward and set their investment destination to Bangladesh. I wish you all a good health, happiness and prosperity in coming days. Father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, dreamed of building a poverty-free, prosperous Sonar Bangla. I hope that this conference will play a catalytic role in achieving the desired goal. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, I formally declare the SAFA International Conference 2019 open. আমি আপনাদের সঙ্গে আরও অনেকক্ষণ সময় থাকার আমার ইচ্ছা ছিল, কিন্তু আমার পূর্ব নির্ধারিত সময়ে আমার আজকে রাজশাহী বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের কনভোকেশন সেটা ছিল। যাওয়ার পথে শুধু আপনাদের এখানে আসলাম। যদি আমার ওই কনভোকেশন না থাকতো অথবা আপনাদের পূর্বে যদি আমার সঙ্গে যোগাযোগ করতেন, হয়তোবা ওই কনভোকেশন রেট অন্যরকম হতো, তাহলে আপনাদের সঙ্গে অনেকক্ষণ বেশি থাকতে পারতাম এবং বিদেশি মেহমান যারা আসছে তাদের সঙ্গে ব্যক্তিগতভাবেও কিছু কথাবার্তা বলতে পারতাম। কিন্তু আমাকে এখনই যেতে হবে। আজকে আমার সম্মেলন আছে, কনভোকেশন আছে রাজশাহী ইউনিভার্সিটি এবং রাত্রে থেকে পরের দিন আবার রাজশাহী বিজ্ঞান ও প্রযুক্তি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের কনভোকেশন শেষ করে আমাকে আসতে হবে। এর ভিতরে আমাকে সময় ম্যানেজ করে আসছে, যে জন্য আমি আপনাদেরকে সময় দিতে পারলাম না আপনাদের সঙ্গে বেশি আলাপ আলোচনা করা, মানে মত বিনিময় করা, বিদেশি বন্ধুরা যারা আসছে তাদের সঙ্গেও একটু মত বিনিময় করা, সাক্ষাৎ করা, আলোচনা করে এই ধরনের সুযোগ করতে পারি না। এই জন্য আমি আন্তরিকভাবে দুঃখিত। আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকো। এই সম্মেলনের আবারও আমি সাফল্য কামনা করছি। আমি এই সাফল্য কামনা করে আমার বক্তব্য এখানে শেষ করছি। খুদা হাফেজ। বাংলাদেশ চিরজীবী হোক। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ধন্যবাদ মহামান্য রাষ্ট্রপতি, আপনার মূল্যবান ও দিক নির্দেশনা
Organizing Committee of SAFA International Conference 2019, Mr. Muhammad Farhad Hussain, FCA.
অর্গানাইজিং কমিটির চেয়ারম্যান জনাব ফারহাদ হোসেন, FCA.
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Honorable special guest, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, Advisor to the Prime Minister on investment and private industry. Our guest of honor, Mr. Jagmohan Rao, President of SAFA, President ICAB, Mr. A.F. Nasaruddin, and our today's learned keynote speaker, Mr. Professor Mustafizur Rahman, our delegates and guests from SAFA member bodies, government officials, my very dear members of the Institute, members from print media and news media, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I'd like to express my deep gratitude to our Honorable President, who just left, for his gracious presence and inaugurating the conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored, and it's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to the remaining part of our inaugural session. Today's conference theme is Foreign Direct Investment, as we call it FDI, Destination Bangladesh. We all know that FDI is probably the most powerful engine of growth for any national economy, and for Bangladesh also. Bangladesh is a growing economy. It has been continuously growing for the last 30 years at an average rate of 5 to 6, 7%, which in many ways is something of which we can be proud of. And the foreign investors are now thinking of Bangladesh as one of their favorite destinations for investment. International investment level have surged to a great extent during recent past. It's not only financially beneficial for the foreign investors to come to Bangladesh, but for Bangladesh also, it can play a significant role in the dynamics of Bangladesh. And as we all know, that Bangladesh is also preparing to get into middle income group category with the next few years. So this topic of today is very important for us. We want to know why and how this FDI can have impact in Bangladesh economy, and why are the foreign investors think that Bangladesh is a good destination for their investment. And also the policies which our government is taking to enhance the ease of doing business for the foreign investors in Bangladesh. In this context, I would also like to mention that all the SAFA countries are more or less in the same platform as we are. So it probably applies to all the SAFA countries. I'm sure this topic is very thought-provoking, especially after our keynote speaker, Mr. Mustafizur Rahman, presents his paper, and we also attend to hear the comments made by the discussants in the second half. We are very happy to have Mr. Jagmohan Rao here, who is a very, very good friend of ours. And we know each other for quite some time. And he has very high respect for Bangladesh and also the language Bangla. He speaks in Bangla with me all the time whenever he sees me. Thank you very much. And we are also happy to have our special guest today, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, whose contribution in the development of business, in the development of entrepreneurship, and in the development of corporate governance of Bangladesh during almost last 40 years is unparalleled. Sir, we are grateful to you and also your contribution to our accountancy profession. We are very happy to have you with us, and we are looking forward to listen to your words of wisdom. With these few words, I would again like to welcome you all. Let's look forward to a very lively conference with all of your cooperation and participation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
সুধীমণ্ডলী, এখন কিনোট পেপার অন ফরেন ডিরেক্ট ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ডেস্টিনেশন বাংলাদেশের উপর একটি প্রেজেন্টেশন উপস্থাপন করা হবে। আমি আজকের কিনোট স্পিকার সেন্টার ফর পলিসি ডায়ালগের সম্মানিত ফেলো প্রফেসর মুস্তাফিজুর রহমানকে অনুরোধ করছি প্রেজেন্টেশনটি উপস্থাপনের জন্য।
Good afternoon. Special guest of this session, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, Member of Parliament, Honorable Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Mr. PVS Jagmohan Rao, President SAFA, who is guest of honor this morning. We have also with us President ICAB, Mr. A.F. Nesaruddin, FCA, Chair of the SAFA International Conference 2019 Organizing Committee, Mr. Muhammad Farhad Hussain, FCA, Excellencies, distinguished guests from abroad and from home, dear friends. First of all, let me register my deep appreciation of this very kind invitation to share some of my thoughts on a topic which I think is crucial as Bangladesh stands to go forward in the 21st century. And I think that ICAB and SAFA could play an important role and are playing an important role in terms of the topic that we have chosen, because if we want to attract FDI to Bangladesh, I think that a culture of transparency and accountability is very important, and accounting professionals could play an important role in that. So I'm very happy that we have chosen for this session Bangladesh Foreign Direct Investment Destination Bangladesh. As we stand here on the eve of the month of December, the month of victory, we also recall the supreme sacrifice of our martyrs, our father of the nation, who made their sacrifice so that their past was not our future, so that we lived a better life than what they have lived. And I think that from that perspective, FDI could play an important role in giving us the jobs, not only jobs, but better jobs, not only wages, but decent wages. And from that perspective, what I have tried to do this afternoon is to convince the potential investors who always say that Bangladesh has a great future, but the purpose for us is to bring that future to the present. And that's the challenge for Bangladesh. That's the challenge for the policymakers who are grappling with the various manifold and formidable challenges as we go forward. So that's what I will try to do. And what I have chosen for my theme is that not only why destination Bangladesh, but what are the advantages of Bangladesh as a destination. I think that convincing is very important for the foreign investors. And I will also share some of my thoughts with regard to the priorities in that context, and also some of the challenges in going forward. Now we know that, and our President, Honorable President of the Republic has also mentioned the advantages that Bangladesh has with regard to foreign direct investment. And if we look at the beginning of Bangladesh, in 1971, when we got our independence, Bangladesh started with a lot of challenges. And one of the very first books on Bangladesh was Bangladesh, the test case for development. And the authors, the foreign authors, they said that they have titled the book The Test Case and not A Test Case, because they thought that if development is possible in this country, it is possible in any developing country. So we have come a long way from those words of the test case of development to this point when Bangladesh is going forward with 2 graduations, as was mentioned. The LDC graduation, which means that according to per capita income, according to human asset index, according to economic vulnerability index, Bangladesh has crossed minimum thresholds, and also the middle income graduation. In 2015, Bangladesh has crossed the World Bank's low income threshold, and we are now a lower middle income country. And now our vision, as our government has set that vision, is to become an upper middle income country, which is $4,000 to $12,000 per capita income by 2030, and a developed country by 2041. So there, I think that foreign direct investment could play an important role. If you look at the history, and I was talking about the advantages of Bangladesh, if you look at this figure, we can see that since the 1990s, the size of the GDP has increased by 10 times, the real per capita income has grown by 6 times. Every decade, Bangladesh has been able to accelerate the GDP growth rate by 1.5%. And if we recall 1991, when our foreign aid and our exports, the ratio was 1:1. Today, as we stand, the ratio is 11:1. So we are exporting 11 times more than what we are dependent on the aid that we receive. So Bangladesh has transformed itself from a predominantly aid-receiving nation to a trading nation. And that is the advantage that Bangladesh has. And for that, the foreign direct investment is something that we can really count on so that in going forward, we can enhance our export possibilities, our employment possibilities as well. If we look at this figure, we can see that how the per capita income has increased, and we have become a middle income country in 2015. Now going forward, I think that the next frontier for Bangladesh will be the FDI. Why? Because you see the 2 graduations, which are the mark of our economic growth, will also bring formidable challenges as we go forward. LDC graduation will mean that we will not be eligible for the preferential market access that we have been receiving as an LDC. So the competitiveness pressure will be that much higher. The middle income graduation will mean that the cost of borrowings will go up. So that is also something that we will have to keep in mind, and that's why the need for raising efficiency, the need for more investment from abroad, from our domestic market will become that much important. What are our comparative advantages if Bangladesh has to be the destination? One is the competitively priced workforce. I don't say, sometimes it is said that it is the workforce is very, very cheap. We are not exporting labor, we are exporting products. And if your labor is less productive, the products become costly. So it has to be competitively priced labor where our productivity is high so that we can give higher wages, decent wages to our labor. So that's why it has to be competitively priced workforce. Quick learning workforce. Many of the investors, foreign direct investors, have told us that compared to many other countries, our workforce is a quick learning workforce. I think that is an advantage that we have. The demographic dividend, the median wage is 24 years. That's also very important. And another important issue which sometimes we do not really appreciate is the rising middle class. Because once the foreign direct investment comes, they will also count on the domestic market. And if we have a large domestic market, then that is the economies of scale that they can reap from that domestic market in order to target the foreign market. So this is also very important. And another issue that we have often heard is that you see foreign direct investment doesn't come because we don't have infrastructure. So the smart decision would have been attract foreign direct investment in infrastructure, and that's what this government has done. And I think that also prepares our country for higher levels of foreign direct investment. 8% of the GDP equivalent is the public investment in Bangladesh, which is quite high even by developing country standard. And also as an LDC and also as members of SAFTA, BIMSTEC, FTA, and many other regional trading arrangements, Bangladesh gets preferential access. So how to take advantage of that preferential access? How foreign investors coming to Bangladesh, taking advantage of the preferential market access and exporting to those markets? That is the challenge. The guest of honor was mentioning about the regional market. You see, India imports about $500 billion. China imports about $2.2 trillion. But Bangladesh's exports to these countries is still about $1 billion. We have crossed, our exports has crossed about $1.2 billion last year, which is a milestone, I think. But this is enormous possibility this offers us. We are also, as you know, building special economic zones, and the foreign direct investments will have to be attracted to these special economic zones. Some of the initiatives that this government has taken, like the BBN motor vehicle agreement, the participation in the Belt and Road Initiative, all this creates an environment, conducive environment for foreign direct investment to come in Bangladesh, to build up the production networks, the horizontal networks, the vertical networks, so that the foreign direct investors can take advantage of these new initiatives which have been taken and get into the regional markets. And by building production networks, they can also get into the global market. So regional integration as a stepping stone to the global integration is also an opportunity for the foreign direct investors. So price, quality, productivity, efficiency, and reduced lead time. These are the key words which we will have to really keep in mind. So FDI, the foreign direct investment connectivity, can be a virtuous circle which can combine trade connectivity, transport connectivity, logistics connectivity, business to business connectivity, and knowledge connectivity. So these are the opportunities that foreign direct investment can give us. And if you look at the FDI policies, very competitive FDI policies, conducive policies, fiscal incentives, repatriation of profits, in all those terms, Bangladesh foreign investment treaties have been mentioned here with 29 countries, avoidance of double taxation, etc. So all the policies are in place for Bangladesh to emerge as the next global hub for FDI. But at the same time, we will have to remember and remind ourselves that we have to go a long way. And I have given just the example of Vietnam. Why Vietnam? Because its economic size is also almost similar to Bangladesh. Our GDP is about $305 billion. Vietnam's GDP is about $255 billion. So it's almost similar. But please look at the second column, FDI net inflow. $3.9 billion for Bangladesh, $15.5 billion for Vietnam. FDI stock, $18 billion for Bangladesh, $145 billion for Vietnam. And export of Vietnam was $236 billion as against $40.5 billion for Bangladesh in fiscal year 2018-19. So that's what we should aim at. In spite of all the things in place, we are yet to realize the potentials, to make the potentials, the possibilities, and the realities. So that's the challenge which is before us. And if we look at the structure of our investment, it's very concentrated in only a few sectors like power, food, textiles, banking, telecommunications. If we look at this FDI stock also, we see that the pattern is almost the same. It's very narrowly focused. And if we look at the top countries which are investing in Bangladesh, that's also not very much broad-based. So how to broad-base our export? How to diversify our FDI? How to bring in more investors, the investors who are investing in various other countries, how to attract them to our country. That's the challenge that we have. So that's something that we have to think about. If you look at the structure of the FDI, one thing which we should keep in mind that we want to attract more equity. Now, if we look at the structure, it's intracompany loans, reinvested earnings, and equity capital. It's almost one-third, one-third, one-third. So a major challenge for Bangladesh is to bring in equity in our markets. Now, if we look at what is the registration that have been made with the BOI or the BIDA now, and what is the actual investment, you see the gap. Over the last 5 years, almost $100 billion worth of investment were registered. People are willing to come to Bangladesh, but how to translate that willingness into actual investment? That is the challenge that we have. And there, obviously, we will have to target the places where we are really weak. And here are some of the global studies that we have, I have given here in order to show that we are improving. But if we are walking and others are running, then we are falling behind. So that's the challenge for us. We will have to accelerate our pace of walking so that we can also run and we can also outpace our potential competitors. And so what are the major areas? I have taken some of the ideas from the global studies, and we can see that in terms of governance, we have the institutions in place, but the efficacy of the institutions will have to be enhanced manifold. So that is a challenge. We have the rules in place, but our implementation will have to be strengthened further. We have our infrastructure, but infrastructure, of course, will have to be quality infrastructure, and we will also have to have the budgetary muscle in order to maintain those infrastructure in future. That is number one. And number two, I think that if the infrastructures are costly, then obviously the service charges will be also be higher. So from that perspective, effective infrastructure will have to be cost-effective infrastructure. So that is also something that we will have to look at. Education and human capital, obviously, if we are thinking about building 100 special economic zones, obviously the skills demand will be that much high. Otherwise, we will end up with what we are seeing in many of the sectors where the middle management, the technically equipped people are coming from abroad. So I think that deficit, addressing that deficit, skills and the market demand will become very important. And there I think apprenticeship is a major tool which have been proven to be very effective in other countries. How can we incentivize that with obviously collaboration with the private sector? That will be a major issue. And obviously Bangladesh business environment will also have to be equipped in a manner that we can translate those possibilities into realities. We see that with regard to business investment environment, there are a number of weaknesses. We will have to have very strong services sector. You see, the challenge in today's FDI world is that even if we are attracting manufacturing FDI, many of the services are embedded in the manufacturing jobs. So we cannot bifurcate, this is manufacturing and this is services. Without the services, the manufacturing will not be competitive. So that's why in a business environment which also gives us a very efficient services economy is also very important. So from that perspective, the homework is clear cut. If we really want to attract the sort of FDI that Vietnam has been able to attract, obviously we will have, I think that there are 4 key determinants of that: skilled human resource, adequate infrastructure, predictable policy environment, and reduced cost and lead time. Not only cost, but also lead time. And in order to have the reduced lead time, obviously the ports and infrastructures will also play an important role. So in our education system, and incentivizing entrepreneurship, innovative culture is becoming very important. And I think that with regard to regional market, which I think is a major next frontier for Bangladesh, trade facilitation will become very important. For example, with India, about 90% of our trade is through land borders, and there I think single window, trade facilitation, logistics, interoperability of the systems, coordination between the two sides will become very important. I think that the other issue which is becoming very important, we always say that our territory is 144,000 square kilometers. Now no one should say that it is 144,000 square kilometers. We should also add our maritime boundary. And our territory now we will have to consider to be 260,000 square kilometers. And that's where the next investment possibilities are also there. So I think that this is also very important as we go forward, that we consider our blue economy as also our next possible frontiers. Now there are many studies which have identified what are the next sectors for Bangladesh. And I think that we have to come out of the box and think about non-traditional sectors, the new economy. The economy which is the future, because many of the production systems and production practices will be changing. So getting ready for that new innovative economy, renewable energy, efficient technologies are the new frontiers. Automotive industry is the new frontiers. So we will have to also prioritize. In the short term, obviously there are some low-hanging fruits which we will have to incentivize, we will have to prioritize. For example, we have to prioritize the RMG hub in Munshiganj. We have to have the central ETP in the leather sector in Savar, API park in Gazipur, IT park in Kaliakur. But these are yesterday's challenges. But what are the tomorrow's challenges? I think that that's what we have to think about. And there, the new economy, the new services sector, renewable energy, automotive industry, I think these are the industries where the investors are looking forward to invest. And there, in order to prepare for those, obviously we will have to have a new sort of also culture and investment environment. So my last concluding session, and we will have more opportunity to discuss in the subsequent session because all of these need elaboration and more insightful discussion, is that Bangladesh has now decided that we will implement our SDGs by 2030, which talk about economic growth, social inclusiveness, and environmental sustainability. So I think that that triangulation gives us a possibility also to look at FDI as a vehicle, as a tool in order to implement the SDGs. And if we have an SDG, then only we will have a developed country which is not only developed economically, but also it is developed in an inclusive way, because we want Bangladesh which is more fair in distributive terms, which is more equitable, and one of the challenges that we are seeing is increasing inequality. So obviously, when we are talking about FDI, if we can create those jobs which are decent jobs, well-paying jobs, obviously that will also contribute not only to our exports, but also to have a Bangladesh in the image of the father of the nation and the martyrs of our liberation war. And that is what the FDI we should be talking about, just not investment, but an investment that creates good jobs, decent jobs, an investment that contributes to the implementation of the SDGs in Bangladesh by 2030. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Mustafizur Rahman, Distinguished Fellow, Center for Policy Dialogue, CPD. I would now request the special guest, Mr. Salman Fazlur Rahman, MP, to hand over a crest of the Institute to Professor Mustafizur Rahman. May we now request the special guest of today's ceremony, Private Industry and Investment Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Salman Fazlur Rahman, MP, to kindly address the audience.
President of the Bangladesh Institute of Chartered Accountants, President of South Asian Federation of Chartered Accountants, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee of this conference, keynote speaker, foreign delegates, Bangladeshi delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Actually, I would like to first congratulate the Institute for organizing this conference and for actually selecting the topic of this conference, which is FDI and Destination Bangladesh. This is, of course, in the overall scheme of what the government's programs are, FDI is a very, very important component. And therefore, I think it is a very apt and appropriate selection of topic. I would also like to thank the Institute for inviting me as special guest and giving me an opportunity to say a few words. At the outset, I'd like to congratulate the keynote speaker, Mr. Mustafizur Rahman of CPD, for presenting his keynote paper on FDI, and I think he has summarized it very, very correctly, that the opportunities, our achievements, the opportunities that are there, and the challenges we face. So, what I'll do is, actually I had a prepared speech, but I'll basically comment on some of the issues which the keynote speaker has raised, and I think that will give some food for thought for the subsequent discussions. So, at the very outset, I would also like to recall with profound and deep respect our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, under whose dynamic leadership we achieved our independence and became an independent and free country. And I also recall, as you know, our month of victory, December, is coming up, with deep, profound respect, the martyrs of our liberation war who sacrificed their lives for giving us this beautiful country. The achievements of Bangladesh, as has already been mentioned by the keynote speaker, is well known. And in fact, a lot of foreign think tanks, foreign institutions, banks, all have been saying good things about Bangladesh and the remarkable growth which we have achieved. But I think one of the most important testimony which we have received recently is from the Asian Development Bank, which recently said that Bangladesh is the fastest growing country in the Asia-Pacific region. So I don't think I'll dwell too much on what we have already achieved. That is, I think, more or less now accepted. We know that this year we grew at 8.13%, and our target for next year is 8.2%, which is, if we can achieve that target, then of course that's a huge impact on the economy. So, what I would like to actually concentrate on is, actually we have to, what Mr. Mustafizur Rahman has very rightly said, that what are the challenges for the next level where Bangladesh has to go and how we are going to meet those challenges. So, the first and foremost, what I think is that once he mentioned correctly that once we graduate from the LDC to lower middle income status, one of the challenges we'll face is market access. And I think that is something which the government is already aware of. Really, the main challenge there on the market access is with the EU. It is the EU GSP which we have, which will go away. But then the EU has a system of GSP plus, and we are already negotiating with the EU to get the facility of GSP plus, which I think will compensate to a large extent the fact that we will lose GSP. In other countries, I don't think, for example, in the United States, we don't have any special market access, so it's not, that market won't be affected. In other areas where we do have, what we are now looking at is negotiating FTAs with as many countries as possible, and that is an important this thing. Another thing which he mentioned was connectivity within the region. I think that is another important aspect. We are also wanting to definitely concentrate on regional trade also, especially trade with China and India. It's rightly pointed out that the import figures of China and India are huge, and that these should be, we should tap into this. In fact, only recently I had led a delegation from Bangladesh to Shanghai, where the Chinese have a unique, have started since last year, a unique expo, which is an import expo. So what they do is all the countries with whom they are trading, and most of the countries with whom the Chinese trade, they have a balance of payment in their balance of trade in their favor. So what they have done is to, in order to reduce the this trade imbalance, they have this expo where they invite all the countries with whom they trade to come and showcase their products. So Bangladesh also went there, and so we are working to increase our trade with both China and with India. On the connectivity, as you know, we have started the road, we have done the road connectivity. There is a lot of transit connectivity going on with India, Bhutan, Nepal. Also, what is very interesting is electricity. We are importing over 4,000 megawatts from India at the moment, and once we have a national grid, we are also looking at having an integrated electrical grid with Nepal and Bhutan, so that the electricity which is produced in Nepal and Bhutan from their water resources, that can be then shared so that kind of connectivity also is being done. So the challenges for Bangladesh to move forward, which has rightly been said, is that there are 2 or 3 challenges which we have. We have reached a certain level due to the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We have come to a certain level, but now we have to, the targets Prime Minister has set, by 2021 we will become a lower middle income country, 2031 we want to become a middle income country, and by 2041 we want to become a developed country. So in order to achieve these targets, there are certain things which we have to do and which we are doing. One of the 2 reasons I want to mention is why, how have we, because we have to build on those successes. So why, how did we reach where we have? One of the main reasons which I think is the power generation. When Prime Minister came to power 11 years ago, we were generating only 3,000 megawatts. Today we are generating over 21,000 megawatts, so we have the capacity to generate that. So electricity was a big problem. Once we solved that problem, that was a big benefit to go forward. The other was, I think, where our big success has been our agriculture. You know, it was mentioned that we are a small country, but 165 million people, so we are the most densely populated country in the world. But we are now self-sufficient in food. So we are growing enough food not only to feed ourselves, we are also in the process of exporting rice. So this has been agriculture has been a very, has also contributed to this growth. Our agriculture sector has been a very successful sector, and in order to move forward in diversifying our industry base, which the keynote speaker mentioned, we are putting a lot of emphasis on agro-processing and food processing industries, and we are already finding we are finding good response in this area. And there are a lot of, lot of foreign companies have been contacting us for investing in food processing. The other, and also because we are land is very precious, agricultural land is very precious, which again the keynote speaker touched on, is that we have, Honorable Prime Minister decided to go for, rather than having unplanned expansion of industry, thereby transforming precious agricultural land into industry, we said we should do this in a planned manner and we should have these economic zones. But what we did was, and we have introduced a unique model. You see, we have 4 models of economic zones. The first model is the government buys the land, the government develops it, puts in all this thing and then leases it out. This is a normal model. Most governments, most countries follow this model. Our second model is that we allow the private sector to do it. So the private sector buys the land, the government only gives them the permit, and then they put in the infrastructure and they develop the economic zone. This is also a common model with many other countries. The third model, of course, is a private-public partnership, where the government gives the land, but the private sector develops the zone. But our fourth model, which was unique, I think, is that we are also doing economic zones which are country specific. So, for example, China has taken 2 zones. The government gives land, the Chinese government or the Chinese companies come and develop the zone, and that is exclusive for Chinese investors. Similarly, Japan has come in, India has come in, now Saudi Arabia is looking at it, Korea has come in. So all these specific country, this will help a lot to attract foreign FDI, because then that FDI will be specifically targeted to that country. So we can go to the investors of that particular country and say that there is an exclusive zone for you and you please come and invest in this. And this model has actually worked well. And I was in fact with BISA, which is our economic zone authority, yesterday only, and I was being told that there has been a huge amount of interest, and the new figures, I think by the end of next year, you will see this model has really helped in attracting a lot of FDI. The other thing which I would like to mention over here, of course, what has been mentioned on the skills issue, I will come to that in a moment. Export diversification, that I think is another thing which is very, very important. And this is, one of our biggest vulnerability is that Bangladesh's exports are based 85% on textiles. So this diversification, we are now working, this thing, like I said, food processing is one, leather is another, furniture is another area which we feel is, we can go for. So there are many new items which we have started doing. I was very surprised the other day when I came to know that even though in absolute terms the figure is small, but we are the 7th largest exporter of bicycles. I didn't know that we have actually come to that extent. So these are areas which are coming up, and there are a lot of issues which we feel that we would be able to do. You have mentioned about the blue economy. We are working on that. Government is very keen to develop the blue economy, and I agree with you 100% that the new maritime boundary which we have been able to get, this should now form part of Bangladesh. And I think that's a very good suggestion. We should now not say, we should include that square mileage in the in our this thing. So thank you for that suggestion. Skills development. This is something which is very, very important. And we have recently, government has formed what is called, under the Prime Minister's office, a National Skills Development Authority. And the main job of the NSDA is that, you see, we are seeing that there is a lot of individual initiatives to develop skills. And there are a lot of training institutes, but this is not coordinated. And the NSDA's main job will be to have a coordinated way to develop skills where we can have standardized curricula and these curriculums can be, which should be developed with all the different stakeholders, and then it should move forward for, for the development, and also quality control of the skills development. So these, this initiative is also very much in. Now, I will, it's also lunchtime, I will conclude, but before that I want to mention something which is very, very important, which is new and to do with skills development. Another success story of Bangladesh has been, which very few people know, is digital Bangladesh. The fact that Bangladesh is now digitally connected, because Bangladesh is a small country, geographically, what we have been able to do is that we have now got a fiber optic backbone which is connecting over 3,000 unions. And by the end of next year, all 4,500 unions will be connected. And this has given a, it has really given rise to freelancing. There is a lot of young people who are now doing freelancing, and are, the World Economic Forum recently released a report which said that Bangladesh now, after India, is the second largest manpower in IT and in BPOs is happening, the freelancing. The freelancing, we are starting a database. We will be registering the freelancers, and we will be issuing registration certificates to them, so that we can, this thing, I think it's not been captured, but I think over $2 billion already is being earned by the freelancers in Bangladesh. And this has not been captured formally. We are in the process of doing that. Here, what I would like to say is that in order to face the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution, where you are going to get artificial intelligence, robotics, quantum computing, all these issues are coming up. These will be major challenges for Bangladesh. And in order to face this, this is again with skills, it's to do with skills development. In fact, NSDA is now working on a curriculum where we want to make it compulsory in the primary school, that children who are 6, 7 years old, we will make it compulsory for them that they will be taught coding. You see, coding is a language, and children pick up languages much faster than grown-ups. So we are making this compulsory, and so that by the time he is in the secondary school, he knows how to do programming. So we basically need to create an army of programmers. And so that is going to, if we can empower them, that is how we will face the fourth industrial revolution. So those kind of initiatives are also being taken. Now, just before concluding, which I need to mention is something which the keynote speaker raised and which is extremely important, and that is the challenge which we are facing is the ease of doing business. We have this year made some progress. It's been moderate progress. Our ranking improved by 8 steps, and we were among the 20 top countries of reformers in the world. But that's not enough. So we are now really going in for major reforms in the ease of doing business. And we have set a target that we'll have a substantial improvement, inshallah, next year. But by 2021, we want to go down to low double-digit ranks. That is what our target is, and I think we'll be able to do that. The other thing which we have done is we have introduced the one-stop service, and this is again because of digital Bangladesh, because of our connectivity, we are taking full advantage of this. And what we are doing is that in the one-stop service, all the 4 major investment promotion authorities or organizations, which is BIDA, BISA, BEBSA, High-Tech Part Authority, all of them are going in under one-stop service, which is going to happen very fast. There is, since we are with the chartered accountants, all I would say is that what our keynote speaker said, that you also have a very important role, because if we have to really grow the economy, the next challenges which we have, then transparency becomes a very, very important issue. And I think the Institute of Chartered Accountants have a very important role to play in two roles. I think one role is the transparency as far as the audit of the books are concerned, but at the same time, also I think now a lot of you are giving a lot of consultancy services, credit ratings, things like that. So these are very important elements for for healthy development of business. As you have, I think, aptly said, that inspiring business confidence is one of your slogans over there, which is, I think, very, very apt. You will actually, if you all perform properly, then you will be inspiring the business confidence, which I think is very, very important. Just conclude that while I was sitting down, many people, and also many people keep complaining that we have a lot of problem with the NBR. You all are working with NBR all the time, and that with the new VAT law, and that we are facing a lot of issues. And what the government has decided, we do feel, is not only with NBR, it is with all, when I'm doing this ease of doing business, when I'm working on how to do the reforms, we find that wherever there is interaction with government at the field level, there are problems. So in order, what we are trying to do is to reduce as much as possible this interaction through making everything online, to making everything digital. So the VAT online is now working. We are going to make the customs. So this initiative in a big way is happening. People say that yes, you are saying about it, but it's not being implemented, but that's not correct. It is under implementation, and I think pretty soon we will, that is an absolutely stated goal of the government, that we will want to make, because we have this digital backbone, we want to make everything online so that human interaction is reduced as much as possible. If that happens, then I think efficiency will increase and the problems which you face will be over. So with these words, again, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me today as the special guest and for giving me an opportunity to say a few words. And I wish that you all have a very, very successful conference in Bangladesh. And all the foreign delegates who have come to Bangladesh, I would like to extend a very hearty welcome to you, to our hospitable city of Dhaka, and I hope that you all have an enjoyable and productive stay over here. Thank you very much. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, Bangladesh Chirojibi ho.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the inaugural session. I'd like to invite everyone to join the lunch.